Hi everyone, welcome back. Today you join me for another day of eating. I woke up this morning already knowing what I was going to have for breakfast because I batch prepped this yesterday. I made some granola, it's always one of my favourites for breakfast, and this is one that's loosely based off a recipe I shared back in a video in January, I think it was. My triple almond granola, I've been making it so much recently. I've switched this one up a little bit, there's some pecans in there, and I also threw in some of the Golden Spiced Latte mix from that same recipe video. So it's kind of like a chai spiced granola. Lots of different chai spices in there. It's kind of giving autumn and spring. But you know what? I drink chai latte and iced chai lattes year round, so I'll take it. That's what I'm starting my day with. I have the recipe from yesterday, so I will share that with you. As I mentioned, this granola is very similar to my triple almond granola. It's made up of roughly chopped almonds. I then also chopped up the same amount of pecans to add in, and I just combine all of the dry ingredients in a bowl, including the flaked almonds as well, rolled oats and a pinch of salt. Then for the wet ingredients, it's almond butter, smooth or crunchy works, maple syrup, melted coconut oil, and to that I also added 3 tablespoons of the Golden Spiced Latte mix. Golden Spice because it has turmeric in it, but it uses all chai spices. I then add the wet mix into the dry and spread it out onto a baking tray. Bake it in the oven for around 30 minutes on 180 degrees Celsius. The kitchen will smell incredible. And then once it's done, I leave it to cool and then store it in an airtight jar for up to a week. So I had some of that for my breakfast. I had it with some plain coconut yogurt, some raspberry chia jam I had made, and some more almond butter on the side. Added on some hemp seeds too for extra protein. Yeah, it's a winning combination, and with my big jar of prepped granola, it's just so quick and easy to throw a bowl together for breakfast. So usually after breakfast I will go to the gym, but I've been making the most of the nice weather recently and getting my steps in around my local park, and I've been taking my AG1 with me to drink on my morning walk. So thank you to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. I've started drinking AG1 as part of my morning ritual for my daily nutrition supplement for the last couple of months now, and it fits easily into my morning routine. All you have to do is mix 1 scoop of AG1 into cold water and give it a good shake. AG1 is a comprehensive and convenient blend of over 70 vitamins, minerals and other high quality whole food sourced ingredients. It contains friendly bacterial cultures and antioxidants, and just 1 scoop a day contains the nutrients you need to support your energy, gut health, focus and balance. Plus I use 1 to 2 drops of their vitamin D3 plus K2. I've really noticed a difference since starting my day with AG1. I feel more focused and energized, and the energy is helping me reach my 10,000 steps a day. I feel that drinking AG1 supports my metabolism and it is going to drive me towards my running goals. It has both pineapple and vanilla bean extract to sweeten, as it doesn't use any added sugar. It tastes delicious. If you want to support your health 7 mornings a week and make AG1 part of your routine, visit drinkag1.com/JessBeautician. Subscribe now and AG1 will give you a free bottle of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs. All of the information and the link is in the description box below. I'm gonna head off on my walk and enjoy this on the way. I mentioned briefly my running goals. I'll maybe talk about this in another video, but Couch to 5K is one challenge I want to do again this year. I think because I love walking so much, especially being outside recently, sometimes I feel I could walk for hours. When I've got my music on and it's a lovely day, I just like to get my 10,000 steps done in one go, and most of the time I've already hit them before I even know it. It's lunchtime and I am very ready for something to eat. All I could think about on my walk was some kind of big hearty sandwich. I've got some bread that needs using up. I've got some oyster mushrooms in the fridge. I'm thinking some kind of pulled mushroom sandwich with some veggies. Let's see what we can come up with. So I made this sandwich. It had avocado, lettuce, a vegetable slaw and some pulled oyster mushrooms, which I'd made up a marinade for using tomato puree, olive oil, maple syrup, coconut aminos, vegan Worcester sauce, smoked paprika, cayenne, salt and black pepper. I just whisk that all together until it's really smooth. Then I took my oyster mushrooms. You can do this with any mushroom really. King oyster mushrooms work great. You can shred those with a fork, or shiitake. I just love how oyster mushrooms pull apart into these meaty strips, and then I coat them in the marinade. If you have time, you can leave them to marinate for a while first. I then cook those in the oven for around 15 minutes. They cook really quickly, but meanwhile I made the slaw/salad using cucumber that I just thinly sliced up. Also thinly sliced some spring onions and radish too. And then I put all of those in a bowl and used a peeler to add in strips of carrot. I then drizzled in some toasted sesame oil, some rice wine vinegar and some lime juice and combined that together. The mushrooms really cook down into nothing. It looks like a lot going into the oven, but once a lot of the water cooks off, not a lot comes out of the oven. I also sliced and toasted some ciabatta and then piled in the pulled oyster mushrooms. Added on some of that pickled vegetable slaw, sliced up half an avocado to go in, and then I added on fresh coriander and shredded lettuce. And on the inside of the top half, I added a little bit of kimchi and soaked the bread in some of the kimchi juice. Bit of a messy sandwich, but very delicious. Pulled mushrooms always work so well as a filling, and I had some lentil chips on the side. I think these were the lemon and chili flavour. Either way, I always need a side of these with a sandwich. Not entirely sure how I'm going to tackle this, but I think that a sandwich that's too big to eat is a side of a good sandwich. Cheers. Those pulled mushrooms are everything. I had a nice matcha in the afternoon, but I've been adding in some of that raspberry jam in the bottom, just for another way to use it up, and it's really good. It sweetens it without me having to add in any extra sweetness, plus it looks really pretty. It's dinner time, my personal favourite meal of the day. We were in Singapore at the end of last year, and when I tell you we ate good in Singapore, but I really wanted to find some vegan laksa, and I managed to have a bowl just as we were leaving Singapore in a fully vegan restaurant called Green Dot, which was highly recommended. I was so excited to eat laksa, especially in Singapore. The ultimate comfort food, delicious creamy broth, noodles, and different types of toppings. Since coming back from Singapore, I have been experimenting in the kitchen, taking inspiration from that bowl of laksa, so I hope that my recipe does it some justice. Now, I do make my own laksa paste. I think traditionally laksa paste uses shrimp paste or fish paste, and I think shop-bought vegan versions can be quite hard to come across. But I try to make things from scratch as much as possible anyway. I make all my curry pastes and things from scratch most of the time, and this one's pretty easy, so let's make it. So this is a laksa similar to and based off of the one I had. For the paste, I first just toasted some coriander seeds and cumin seeds and then set those aside. Then using the same pan, I had sliced up a shallot to fry off in coconut oil until crispy. I believe these are an essential topping for laksa, so I just set those aside once cooked. I then ground up the coriander and cumin seeds using a pestle and mortar before adding in more finely chopped large shallots. I grated in some garlic, some fresh ginger. I chopped up some small red chilies to add in. You can adjust how many you use depending on your heat preferences. I then also grated in the bottom half of a stick of lemongrass, added in 2 teaspoons of paprika and a teaspoon of coconut oil, then ground everything together. I then melted some more coconut oil in the pan I used to fry off the shallots. No need to clean out the pan as it will deglaze and add flavour anyway. I fried off all of the paste for around 10 minutes and then added in a litre of vegetable stock, poured in a tin of full fat coconut milk, added in the top half of the lemongrass that was left over, then flavoured it with some coconut aminos and a good pinch of salt, gave it a good stir and left it to gently simmer with the lid on for around 30 minutes. After around 20 minutes in a separate pan, I cooked some vermicelli rice noodles and some tender stem broccoli. I had some tofu puffs which I just cut in half and then cooked those in the simmering broth for the last 5 to 10 minutes. Drained off the noodles and broccoli and then used the same water to blanch some bean sprouts, and then I added some lime to the broth at the end. I used vermicelli rice noodles, as I said. I believe either these or flat rice noodles are used for laksa. Then I added on the broth and the tofu puffs. Again, I believe tofu puffs are essential for laksa. I get mine from my local Asian supermarket. I had broccoli and bean sprouts in the bowl of laksa I ate in Singapore,
well, so I go with those for toppings. As well as the fried shallots, I also added on some coriander and some more sliced red chili. It's a little bit spicy, but it's rich and creamy. So much flavour in that broth, and then there's different textures from the toppings. The noodles are chewy and the sauce almost clings onto them. The tofu puffs are like little sponges. They just absorb and soak up the broth and all of those flavours. I just use what seems to be traditional or essential toppings for laksa, but I think you can also get creative with what you add on top.
This is my hyperfixation dessert at the moment. I could easily eat 10 of these, but I'm gonna stop myself at 3.
I just take these big juicy dates, responsibly sourced obviously, and I drizzle on some vegan pistachio nut butter first, and then drizzle on some dark chocolate. I used 85% dark chocolate, but any vegan chocolate will do, and honestly these are so delicious and very Moorish.
I really hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, all of the recipes are written in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in my next one. Bye!